For those people who don't know me, Devin the Dream Haney. After a hard workout, I always make sure I take my proglycosin. Great for recovery. Recovery is a big part of training, and take your proglycosin, you'll feel much better.
Hey everybody, Marcos Villegas here in Las Vegas, being joined with Mikaela MEYER, who is fighting on this Fury versus Schwartz card on ESPN. Mikaela, thank you so much for being over here and speaking with us. I've seen your growth since your first fight and one of the first media workouts you had in LA up to this point, and you've improved a lot. There's a lot of things you as a fighter you have grown as. How have you seen your growth at this point compared to when you started?
Oh, I see a huge growth too. So it's obviously pretty cool when you hear people say that they've seen it as well. I've said this from the beginning. There's such a huge difference in the amateur style versus the pro style, and it takes some conscious work to really break out of some of those amateur style habits. And my team has done a really good job at zoning on what those things are and getting me out of those bad habits and making that transition for the pros so that I can be, a successful and exciting pro.
What's the biggest bad habit that you had to break?
So the amateurs is more of a scoring system, obviously. So you want to score that point, then you want to pull straight back. Where is in the pros, you don't want to pull straight back, right? You don't want to just tap, tap, and pull straight back. You want to shift to the inside. You want to be able to work the body and take the angles and really just learn how to fight more in the pocket, going from high to low, high to low. So they've settled my feet down a little bit, a lot less movement, more intention behind my punches, right? And setting people up behind the jab. A lot more of using my jab and trying to set up the punches behind that.
Boxing is such a hard sport, difficult sport, and I always wonder what brings people as boxers to boxing, like their origin story. How did you become a boxer? Was it something that out of necessity, or was it something that your parents forced you into and that you liked?
So like most people, boxing's in their family. Nobody in my family boxes. I discovered boxing in high school.
You started pretty late then, if it was in high school.
I didn't start boxing until I was 17. So, and I was a little bit of a rebellious teenager, doing my thing, not really focused in on anything. I was in my fourth high school by my senior year.
Wait, what were you doing? What kind of trouble were you getting in?
There's actually a piece coming out on ESPN tonight that kind of gives like a little bit more of my background in life that hasn't really been told before. So tune in tonight to ESPN and you'll be able to watch that on SportsCenter.
You can tell us here. What were you doing in high school? You were a bad kid getting in fights?
Well, I was getting into fights. I was hanging out with the wrong crowd. There was some trouble going on in my family. My parents split, and my dad got custody of us three girls at a young age, and he worked a full-time job, and so there was a lot of me raising myself, and I just got caught up in a wrong crowd and not really focused on going to class and doing what I should have been doing at that age. And I realized that, there was an epiphany that kind of hit me, and I was like, I want to be good at something. I want to be successful, and this is not how I'm going to become that. And it started with me just starting something new. I said, let me just start a new sport. My dad had me in sports growing up, and I had stopped through high school, so there was a Muay Thai gym by my house, and I just walked in and signed myself up. I started with Muay Thai.
Okay, I was going to say, so how did you gravitate towards boxing? Because we see how successful the women in MMA are in terms of like paydays and marketability. How did you not end up in that route, and how did you end up in the boxing route then?
I almost did. Like when I found this gym, this is when like MMA, everything was kind of just hitting off. When I first started, women weren't even allowed to compete in the Olympics yet, right? I started taking boxing fights just to better my hands in Muay Thai. And then I was 18 when I took my first boxing fight, and then I think 2 years later they announced that they were going to allow women into the 2012 Olympics in London. So I made that my goal. 2 years into training, and I told myself I wanted to be an Olympian. It was pretty crazy. You don't usually start an Olympic sport that late, right, and then actually make it to the Olympics, but it wasn't like I didn't dabble in it. I fell in love with it immediately. I poured everything I had into it. I went from never training to training 6 days a week, and I just set my goals.
When's the last time you threw a kick?
Oh my God, a long time ago. I haven't kicked in a long time, but there was a period after I left or decided that I wasn't going to go for another Olympics and that I needed to look for another chapter in my career, and I was going to make the transition to MMA. I had a contract set. I was ready to move in that direction because that's where women were getting the recognition, the pay, the TV time, and I didn't have the offers coming out of the Olympics. But the stars all aligned at once. I mean, I sat down with Top Rank like last minute, and it was just a perfect fit. And thank God now, like I'm so glad I stayed with boxing because this is the vision I always had for women's boxing. You know, I almost lost sight of it in the struggle of trying to create a career with it, but it's exactly how I saw it play out in my head, and I'm really happy with where I am and how they've been moving me.
What MMA company had the offer for you?
Bellator.
Okay.
Yeah.
You seen Heather in there and Anna?
Yeah. Similar type of thing where I would have been able to box as well. But again, I'm glad I didn't go in that direction because boxing, you never perfect boxing, right? It's you never perfect this sport. There's always room to grow and learn, and it's hard enough. So like imagine trying to dabble in 2 different sports. The footwork's different. It's so different. So I'm glad I didn't go in that direction.
Do you miss Muay Thai though?
No, I mean, no, not really. I love boxing.
It's a tough sport. Because I trained in Muay Thai as well, and I think it's as tough, if not tougher, than boxing because of they beat you up a lot in there. Like they beat you up so much, and then the stuff outside of it, and then like the recovery outside of it, like the sparring is really brutal.
Yeah, I definitely think it's tougher on the body. I mean, in boxing, we're trained to defend punches, and we know they go here or here. But you have kicks going to the head, kicks going to the legs, elbows coming in there. So
How are your shins holding up?
my shins. I mean, at first you build miniature fractures in your shins. So if I were to kick now the way I was kicking then, I probably wouldn't walk for a week.
They're good though. You're still a little bit of muscle memory there.
Yeah.
So what fight are you at right now?
This is my 11th fight. My number, 11th fight.
So 11 fights in, your goal obviously as a pro is to make as much money as you can, but also to be a world champion. How close are you to being a world champion, you feel, at this point, or how soon are they going to set you up for a title shot, you think?
We actually tried to make that happen for this fight. You know, we think we're ready for the belt. We've had some good opponents that have challenged me in different ways. They've all brought something different to the table, which is what you want in your first few years. So we wanted it for this fight, but we weren't able to strike a deal with any of the world champs, and we're going to try again. We want that this year for sure. We want those world titles this year.
The other component that I feel that is a lot tougher for women in boxing is the weight cut. How different are your weight cuts compared to men? Because I've interviewed other female women, and they've told me that it's a lot tougher, and like the process is the same, but females retain liquid a little bit more than their male counterparts in the weight cuts.
Yeah, that is true, but I really couldn't tell you the difference because I'm not a man. I've never been through that weight cut.
But you've cut weight.
Yeah, and I do hear that women do struggle more. We do carry that extra amount of water weight. But cutting weight hasn't been a problem for me. I work with perfecting athletes. They're here for fight week. They cook all my meals. They monitor my water. They help with the cut on the weigh-in day. So it's been really easy, and it's very scientific and healthy. I feel my absolute best, and I think that's really the problem is a lot of people don't know how to properly cut weight, and it's not their fault. We're all trying to figure this out on our own, but I'm lucky enough to have a really great team who guides me in a really scientific way.
I'm sure you've gotten offers to act, to model, right?
I dabbled in acting. No, not acting, not yet. Maybe one day. We'll see.
Because I could see that with you, and we've seen boxers transition over to entertainment, and they make great paydays, like Gina Carano, and she's like, you know what, this is a lot better than taking a punch in the face. Is that something you think is in your future?
I mean, here's the thing. I love boxing. I'm here because I love to do it. I don't think you could put yourself through this if you didn't love the sport. But obviously, I want to use boxing's not forever, right? My lifespan as an athlete is not forever. So I want to use what I've established as a boxer and to cross over into multiple other things. And acting could be one of them in the future, for sure, because we all need to make money, and we all want the most from all this hard work and time that we put into this sport, and without getting hit in the head for 20 more years.
For you, like, how difficult is it to balance the life of a pro athlete and then just like your normal life? Because you sacrifice so much in training, you go away in camp, and you put yourself in solitude. Like, how do you find that balance in your personal life?
I actually think it creates balance. So when you're in camp and you're ready for this fight, it's like everything is sort of taken away from you. You're zoned in. Coach Al lives with me. It's like there's no, friends aren't over, family's not around, there's no fun and games. Like you're in the zone, and yeah, it's a little bit of torture when it comes down to those last couple weeks, and yeah, it's hard work. But then also when you're done fighting, okay, now it's time that you can dedicate to your friends, to your family, to enjoying life and maybe taking a little vacation or having a little fun. And then, okay, when do I stop? Right, when's my next fight? Let me figure out how many weeks I need. Let me get back to work. So it actually creates balance for me. I know what I have to do when I have to do it, or what I'm allowed to do.
Is it tough to maintain like friendships and like relationships though?
I mean, the friends in my life, a lot of them are boxers, and they know this. They know how it's been, and through the years, like when I first started training, I'm definitely not close with my friends that I were in high school anymore, just because I had to sacrifice a lot of being a teenager and going out and partying and having fun to getting in the gym and doing what I got to do. I didn't go out Friday night so I can get up Saturday and train. So yeah, I lost friends there, but the friends I have now, who have stuck with me over the years, I feel like I have a good, solid foundation of friends.
How's Luna?
Luna's great. I don't know. She's probably missing the shit out of me. Can I say shit? I said shit. Yeah. I usually bring her everywhere, but not to fight week. I don't want to give Coach Al a heart attack. He'd probably freak out. But yeah, I'll see her soon.
How old is she now?
She's a little over a year. She just turned 1 year. Yeah.
I remember when you posted photos of her as a little puppy, and she's big now, huge.
75 pounds now. I'm like, yeah. I didn't know how big she was gonna get. So, but she's the best.
It's a perfect running partner, though, right?
Perfect running partner. She makes training camp so much better. Just because I live alone. I'm single, and so like her just being there with me just makes it a lot more enjoyable.
It helps out when you hear those weird noises at night.
Yeah, right?
You start doubting yourself. You're like, wait a second, where did I just move into?
Yeah. I just moved into a really old house, too. So, that was, a thing for all week. Like, what kind of...
You heard any weird noises?
No, I haven't. My house is ghost-free, for sure. Yeah.
How do you know it's ghost-free?
Feel it. I feel safe there.
Did you do a cleansing?
No, I didn't, actually. I didn't feel the need to.
Yeah, okay. That's a good sign, because I've lived in a haunted house, and it's a weird, it's a weird feeling.
Or I'd move out. I'd sell it. I'd
That'd be really difficult you just bought it and then you go and sell it.
I know.
After this fight, how active are you going to be? When can we see you back in the ring again, you think?
Well, it's June, and it's only my second fight this year. So I plan on Top Rank's going to have to give me a few more fights this year, but obviously I really, really want that world title shot, and I'm hoping to have it, if not the next fight, definitely October, November. So hopefully 3 more fights this year.
On a final question, say I'm Dana White, and I go, Mikaela, here's a contract, team right here, $1 million. Come over to women's MMA, please. You have the look. We'll make you a big star. Would you consider it?
If it was black and white, like leave boxing, come here, take this contract, give up everything that you've started, at least you're getting $1 million. I wouldn't do it, no. Because I'm on a mission here, I work very closely with my manager. Our wheels are always turning. We're always thinking of new ways. How can we brand ourselves? How can we be the exception in this sport? What can we do? And it's fun for us, and it's a challenge, and we're paving a way for women's boxing, and we're doing something that hasn't been done before. And I want to see it through. I want to see how we can get there. And if that offer is here today, I'm sure it'll be there in a year or two.
Leg kicks are fun too, you know that.
I know.
No more leg kicks. Or elbows. Mikaela, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Mikaela MEYER fights this weekend here in Las Vegas at the MGM Grand.